that was like the turning point of that generation, right? I feel like AI is that for our generation, say like millennials, it's that thing that if you don't learn how to use it, you will be left behind. There are some people, and particularly farmers, if they decided that they did not want to use the internet when this first came out, they're having a hard time right now, or they're hiring somebody else to help them with that. I think y'all agree with would y'all agree with that? So I feel like that's what drew me to want to learn more about it, because I'm like, the early adopters, like this is our time, right? Today is the worst that AI will be. The internet back in the day, or even computers in general, where the black screens it's just green and it had the cursor that would just, you know, all that has changed in the last 30 years. Today is the worst it'll be. Um, and it can only get better. Jennifer says, I'm still not using it. So these conversations have been my intro. I'm curious to know why. What is the why haven't you used it just yet? And it doesn't have to be like a super philosophical answer. Is it, you don't have time, not sure where to start, um, intimidated by it? Curious to know.
All of the above.
Oh.
Absolutely all of the above. I'm
Yeah.
like, we are not doing a lot of the posts for the farm yet, so I don't have to use it. So I'm like, all right, I'm listening to these conversations because I know I'm going to have to.
Mhm. Can
So
you tell me can you tell us a little bit about your farm?
we are the ostrich farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. We met on the farm tour.
Right, right. So we sell ostrich meat.
Mhm.
We do farm tours. We've done a big event for Easter in the past. That's been our big event. Um, but we're trying to partner with them to open a bed and breakfast on the farm is ultimately what we're trying to do.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay.
so like I said, I just really haven't had to get my feet too wet in the AI
Yeah.
world yet.
Yeah. And so this is cool because I don't talk to a lot of people who are not using it yet. So what would you say is your understanding of the biggest use of AI?
Honestly, the sky has been the limit. I was actually talking to, so we sell the meat at farmers markets, and I
Mhm.
was at a farmers market, and the lady was like, "Well, do you do recipes?" And I was like, I said, I do. I cook with the meat, absolutely, but I've just never bothered to write it down because I do so much to taste. So it's hard for me to write a recipe. She was like, no, you need to use AI. And I was like, what? She was like, no, use AI. She said, AI will write out the recipe for you. You just tell it what you're doing, and it will actually do the recipe for you. So I was like, okay, that's an idea.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely an opportunity for sure. Anything else? Anyone else want to chime in? I think that one of the biggest kind of opportunities for us is understanding that, like going deeper than surface level. Because a lot of what we hear now, a lot of what I've heard, and maybe it's because I'm in the branding and marketing space, is just AI for marketing. But what do you do when people don't have time to market? They If they don't have time to market their businesses, um, do they have time to learn AI to then eventually market their business? And like you said earlier, Marissa, you can't just say, write me a social post. Because it will suck. And if you don't actually feed, your own thoughts and your own farm identity into it, it's going to produce crap. Or is going to produce something that sounds exactly like everyone else who doesn't know how to use it.
No, absolutely, and the one thing that I have found so interesting with it, and it really shows how smart the platform is
Mhm,
it'll pick up, and I honestly use AI a lot. I know there's a lot of different platforms. I use
mhm,
ChatGPT, but I know there's Gemini and a bunch of others, and even the different websites, like our website has an AI filter in it too now. When I go in and start typing to update our homepage, it has a little thing that you could type in there and it say, shorten it, do this, make it more exciting. And it has a built-in AI component to it.
mhm,
But I use ChatGPT and it has learned me and it has learned our business. And so
mhm,
it'll say, "Oh, do you want this for the cider house? Or are you doing apple picking season now? Or you just finished peaches? Are you going to work on pumpkins?" Like it learns our business and it asks questions accordingly. So it's really smart and it's been really nice
mhm.
to have. It's like another brain sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I I saw this analogy earlier this week that AI is like a calculator. AI or calculators have done like math equations, and we were like, heck yeah, sign us up. We will use a calculator. But AI does like word equations. And so your output in AI is absolutely tied to the inputs that you are putting in. And I love that.
No, I think that's such a great analogy, and it's so true because it is a tool, and you
Mhm.
have to have the right information going in order to get something productive coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I do have questions, but please, if you have additional questions or you want some additional insight, please drop that in the chat. Have you utilized any AI driven experiences in the business, and more specifically, like on the website, having a chat bot that people can ask questions in and maybe get more automated responses? Or have you been interested in it?
I can share from our experience. So I have used our website little AI tool a little bit. I find
Mhm,
that ChatGPT works better for me. And I don't
mhm,
know if it's just the website one has a little bit more limited capabilities. I know a lot of our platforms that we use, whether it's our scheduling platform or our email platform, has little chatbots too to ask
mhm,
questions to, and sometimes those are helpful if to direct instead of directing you right to a person. But I have found for content creation that ChatGPT is better than our website
mhm,
embedded
mhm.
platform.
Right, right. I've seen, I just recently did an interview with someone who their business rebranded, and part of it was this increased customer experience. It's a horse supplement company, and on their website now they have this little chat bot that a customer could say, hey, this is the problem I'm having, and that chat bot would ask a few more clarifying questions and then say, this is what we recommend as far as, what you should purchase. Um, and to me, that kind of replaces just, when you go on a site and you're going through all these filters, and it's like, does it work for the eyeballs, the feet, the skin, the coat, the hair, and you have to just go through and choose and filter things. But if you can actually engage with something that will talk you through your challenge, without having to take you're not using any human resources to do that. It's just an interesting way to, I guess, curate interactions with your customers.
No, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've talked about the opportunities and some of the things that we're already seeing. Let's talk about a few of the challenges. What are some of the challenges or hesitations that you faced or are currently facing now that you've introduced AI into the business?
Well, I don't know if this is specifically a challenge, but I have found out graphics is not the best way to use it because
Yes.
as smart as it is to give me amazing content and ideas, it will misspell the word orchard.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can't really get your way out of it that, you can't say, oh, respell orchard, you can't get in to make those corrections. So we really have backed off of graphics. So that's been a challenge for me is to go, okay, that seems to be its limitation at least.
Right. Right. Absolutely. The six fingers and the eyeballs that are dancing around. It's not quite there yet. Um, and that's why I'll say my Terminator. Yeah. That's why one of my biggest challenges is truly a ethical conversation, knowing that um, these large language models, which is LLM, which is what these AI tools are, they have to be trained. And they were trained on all of the content that was created by humans on the internet. And so we are still very new in this landscape where we're not quite sure how copyright can be defended when these large language models are being trained on content that has been published and should be protected and has not been the authors or creators haven't been compensated for it. So that's one of the ethical challenges that I have. If I say, what are the best marketing tactics for entering 2026? It's extrapolating data from people who have created content about that, right? And ways that I have tried to address that is in how I ask to say, provide me with every single source that you search for, or that you got your answer from, so that I can credit who who said it.
And I like that too. And I've noticed that on some of the things of research with it, it will give me links to the different sources. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it goes back to that the old saying crap in, crap out. And don't
Yeah.
mean that wrong, but it's only as good as the information you give it.
Yeah.
And your whether it's your dialect, whether it's your interpretation of it, any of that could jade the
Mm-hmm.
response that you're getting. So no, I think
Yeah.
that's a valid point, and I can tell you, I sure would not want to be a teacher now. I would not want to be certain things that it would be hard to find out how everything comes to play because I use it to help responding or creating certain emails, and it just makes me not have to work so hard at it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right. One of the other challenges I have with it is the sheer environmental impact. I mean, we are agriculture first. And so when we are leveraging tools that, give us our time back, create resources for us, allow us to move much faster, we also ask what it costs. And it's more than our little measly $20 a month that we pay for ChatGPT, right? With these large data centers that utilize water, and they are in marginalized communities because those are the ones that can't throw the largest hissy fit about it. You know, that's still a growing conversation that a lot of people are having about the ethics of all of the trillions of dollars being invested in AI right now. And so I think that goes back to your point that you shared previously, Beverly, was I only use it for certain things. And I invested the time to learn how to use it, so I'm not overusing it. So no, I don't use it for graphics. I don't use it for graphics because every graphic has the same font. And a lot of people who took that shortcut, it cost them branding because it's generic. They all look the same and everyone immediately knows that you use AI to create the thing.
Well, and I was going to ask that because I'm starting to notice that now because I follow a lot of farms on social media that you can tell where I felt like it was such a
Mhm.
creative approach initially.
Mhm.
But yes, you're right. I can go, oh, you could tell that was an AI generated. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And we talk about, agritourism is in the experience business, and you do have to differentiate yourself from someone else. So if branding is a big part of that, and the ethos of a lot of farmers is like, we are real. This is the real thing. This is where you can come to get away from a lot of what you got going on. But then if you put out a lot of AI created pictures and things, it kind of really goes against that, and it creates some confusion. Even if no one is like calling you out on it or commenting on the post saying, "What is this? And why does she have 7 fingers?" It's subconscious. So that's just my thought on it. Can you tell I've been thinking about this for a long time? It has such a huge implication on branding. Oh, wow, that's so funny. The next question was, how do you balance using technology like AI while still keeping the authentic hands-on farm experience that visitors expect?
Well, and I love that because I think the magic word there is authentic. And
Mhm.
I think that with AI, you're right. If you go into to all of and you get in the graphics, and I understand, especially because farmers for sure don't have a lot of time for marketing, it's easy to do that. But I do think
Mhm.
with that, you do lose authenticity. And for us, we
Mhm.
really strive not to be like everybody else and to be unique and original to
Mhm.
who we are.
Mhm.
And that's where I
Yeah.
think it's nice to be a tool for the creativity and idea generation, but you don't
Right.
just copy paste. You
Right.
use it as a starting spot and then you go and tweak it and you're like, okay, no, I want to change it to this and this and this. So you are adding your authentic brand and your own voice and your own tone to it. So it still is uniquely you, but it at least helps with the initial, like, it gives you the initial concept and then you can kind of start and move it around.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think that the opportunity that it provides is, like Beverly was saying earlier, maybe using it for things that are not customer facing. I think that if you are, a farmer who is trying to get better wholesale accounts, or like you can't figure out why you can't land getting your product into XYZ. Like having AI analyze transcripts is a huge opportunity to see where some of the gaps are. I'm, developing kind of the train of thought of, how does AI actually help farmers make more money? We know that a lot of ag tech companies are using AI in their technology, in the robotics, in analyzing, weed pressure, and I think I saw something, it was like this machine and a laser can tell a weed from like the actual crop, and it just goes zzz, and it's to prevent chemical use, but to have like more targeted weed control. But also, that's a gazillion dollars. You know, every farmer is not using that. So I think it's interesting. It's not necessarily only in farm operations or like the in the office stuff, but how could we use AI out in the field too? Is that anything that y'all have I don't know, thought about or brainstormed on, or incorporating it into some of the farm experiences?
From our side, I don't really think we've tried it as far as like in the actual fields and with the crops and that sort of stuff. The one thing I'll share that as far as what you mentioned earlier about like how to make it us more profitable or
Mhm.
from that standpoint, we actually tried something a couple weeks ago because we were trying to figure out some sort of measurement metric as we have
Mhm.
the Cider House, which is our kind of on-site restaurant, and we're trying to make it more efficient. And so we were inputting a bunch of data and said, okay, if we're doing this many pieces during this many hours of operation and our average ticket time is X and our highest ticket time is this, like, can you help us generate? And then we did a couple more days and said, can you compare the numbers and like run the numbers of what is our efficiency and like how many pieces are we doing per hour and how could we improve this? And we
Mhm.
put it out there, and it finally we like asked it a bunch of questions, so it gave us one thing. We're like, oh, that's not really what we're looking for, so we tweaked again how we phrased it, and then we're like, okay, that's a little closer. And then we continued to ask other questions, and eventually we got to this thing that was talking about an efficiency rate, and we're like, okay, well then we asked the question of what for our business, what should be an average efficiency rate, like what should we strive for and how could we improve this? And so it was
Yeah.
really informative. But from a not public or guest facing standpoint and more from the business operational angle, it was an interesting way to use that we hadn't tried before.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is not something that's not Googleable,
Mm-mm.
you
No, it
know?
was like having somebody to bounce this idea off of, like that other like a collaborator of like, okay,
Mhm.
what about this and what about this? And so it was really informational.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've definitely used it in, I mean, it's not agriculture, but in my own consulting business. Like,
Mhm.
this is what I'm thinking, but I also am thinking a
Right.
lot, you know, like narrow it down and come up with like an outline of
Mhm.
my brain, because the only thing I have capacity to do is to think. But it is very much that input that influences the output. But I'll also say, um, don't judge a tool by the free version, because you will not get what you're looking for. You'll be like, see, I knew I shouldn't have used this AI. This AI is crap. And you're right. That's because you're on the free version. If you have a little bit of cash to experiment with, you only need like $40. Just 2 months, $20 a month for ChatGPT anyway. I don't know how much the other ones cost, but um if you are new to it, I would definitely recommend just experimenting, um, and seeing what you get. Seeing what ways you can leverage it in every part of your business. Hi, Joe. Welcome.
Glad to be here. Sorry, I forgot about it until I saw it on my phone. I do apologize. I think this would have been a very interesting topic.
Well, we have like 30 minutes left. So you've only missed half. Um, and I would love to know, can you tell us a little bit about your farm and, if you use AI, if you're interested, kind of where are you
Well,
with that?
I'm leery of AI. So a little bit about our farm. We in January opened up a winery and tasting room. Our son is a wine. Getting ready to go ahead and plant the whole vineyard this spring and fall time period. So right now we're purchasing grapes from other vineyards here in North Carolina.
Nice.
So we're interested in any tools that are being shared to see how can we implement them to be successful to our business. We know we have to keep up with technology, with what individuals and companies and the general public are engaged with. So whatever those tools are, we need to be informative also. I have flirted with AI. My concern is sometimes the misinformation with it and being able to be sure that I'm aware of what really works and what really doesn't with the information. I will say the last session that y'all did last month on the SMS text messaging,
Yeah.
I'm still recuperating from that session because this is just, it's the way the public and all generations are going, and to try and be informed and to be able to discern what tools will work the best. So our biggest challenge here in Franklin County is exposure. We don't have the traffic coming down to this end of the county, so we have to use some of these tools to make the public aware that we exist. So however AI is going to help us.
So, I mean, Marissa can share her thoughts on that, but like a really good starting point would be, this is who we are. This is what our vision is. This is our current reality. People don't come down here unless they live here, kind of thing. How do we get to this point? Because I think one of the challenges of AI is kind of like creativity. Like, the world is literally your oyster. It will give you whatever it thinks you want to hear. But you have to put some constraints around it so that you get maybe just the next step. Not, how do we make sure that our fall festival in 2026 has 5,000 people, right? Like, that's way too far if your current challenge is traffic, right? So, maybe just toying with, those inputs and saying, okay, what is like the next step? What is that very next step to get this goal that we have? So I think that makes this really big, mushy, not really clear thing very, very small, and then offers you a better opportunity to discern what to use, what's true, and what's not true.
Okay. We're willing to give it a try. We're open to moving forward.
And you know what? Once y'all are open, you just let me know, because I'm a sommelier and I am all about visiting a winery.
Well, come on
Or
down.
tasting
We
room.
are here. Unless I'm in the dark.
I saw someone else join. Did they? Or maybe they popped out. I don't know. But yeah, anyone else? Is there any other way that you've even been thinking about using AI in the business?
You see how to use it?
Oh, the note taker left. That is a good example. Note takers, AI note takers. I know that we've talked about this as a board of directors with ANA to say, okay, we are all very busy people, and we want to make sure we get notes from the meetings that we have and capturing people's thoughts and to-dos with clarity. Having these note takers and using tools that will, just be a fly on the wall for some conversations. That has been definitely a help for me, even just working with my clients. Like, I don't even worry about sending client notes at the end because the AI note taker is there. It is the cheapest employee I've ever had. What about you, Marissa?
I do, and I have a full-time job outside of the orchard, and I don't know how many people use Microsoft Teams or
Mhm.
Microsoft products, but Microsoft has a AI component called Copilot, which is similar in the fact that it takes notes, and it's been great. So you turn it on, and then I say, give me an overview of the meeting, or can you recap action items, or give me an
Mhm.
overview of this. That would be detailed enough for somebody who didn't attend the meeting to almost feel like they were here because the notes are so informative. So that's amazingly helpful. And sometimes it catches things that I didn't think about, or even if I take my own notes, I compare against them. So
Mhm.
again, another great tool that it is beneficial in that capacity.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you see maybe some of the biggest opportunities to use AI in the future for agritourism? I'm curious for anyone's input.
Well,
I know I'm thinking.
I
That's a
guess I
great
have a
question.
hope. I mean, I would love that it could help us with better guest experience and guest service.
Mhm.
That, if there was a way that it can, give us, we used it in training this year. So I do know that I brought it into that of training ideas, and I put in of that I wanted a commitment from the people. I wanted to inspire though.
Mhm.
And again, gave it all the data, and then we were able to pull together. We don't use it verbatim. Again, it's just a starting point. And then we customized it for us more.
Mhm.
And so, I think our content was really good going out during training. So, but I would love to figure out more ways to use it involved in guest experience like we do, right now we're doing surveys. Is there ways that we could use the content from our surveys and
Mhm.
import it into it? Those type of
That's a
things.
great idea. I want to use that this
That
winter.
is
Well,
that is a great idea. That is a great idea. Jimmy, you had a question?
So much. Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson. My question is, as a new farm that's relatively, well, it's our family farm, and I moved back from the beach and bought our farm back a year ago, year and a half ago. How can I use, my technology skills are not the best, I admit that. But how can I use AI to help me with our advertisement? For example, we got a corn maze that's going on now, started last weekend, it's going on this weekend, and it's continuing on to the end of um, September. Then we do our Halloween corn maze, turns the Halloween corn maze in October. How do I use AI to help me with my advertisement? There's so many different companies out there. I don't know who to use to do advertisements. Or, I'm doing the Facebook ads, but that's just me doing it. I don't know. Is there a way or a component I can use AI to do that, or should I just go to ChatGPT and ask it what are the best companies to use as a new small farm that's doing a almost 8 acre corn maze to advertise it in my area? And then second, my question was, why do some of the features that ChatGPT um, assistance, the assistant part, the secretary or the assistant part, can provide that the free version do not provide? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Those just put all that junkness.
No, that's great. That's great. I know that when I start talking, I'm gonna forget the second question. So let me just okay. So the first question was, how do you figure out how to use AI for advertising? Um I think I can share some opportunities and some realities. It's not going to do it for you. The opportunity that AI offers for advertising or marketing or doing promotions is giving you the ideas on how to be creative with it. So you might say, I'm running Facebook ads, but I'm not a Facebook ad expert. So based on the data that is coming out of my Facebook ads, how can I change the ads to get a better result, get a better ROI, get a better cost per click? You can say, okay, do I need to change the image? Do I need to change the copy? Do I need to change the where it shows up? Do I need to change my audience? And you can also, I don't know how much you get into Facebook ads, but you can look at the Facebook ad libraries of businesses similar to yours, and you can see the ads that they're posting and kind of set that as a reference point. Marissa, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you're spot on with all that. I haven't really used it for advertising. The one thing I would say that I have used AI tools for is comparison against. So Jimmy, if you see like, okay, we have this magazine option, we have this like maybe a Facebook ad option, and we have this like TV ad option, of putting it all in there and saying, can you compare against these and give me a chart that shows the benefits and the cons of
Mhm.
each of these opportunities, and then
Yeah.
you look at it and you analyze based on the output that it provides. But Adriana's right that it won't do it for you, but it at least will help give you an analysis of your options.
Yeah. And so that's using AI as a thought partner. So
Mm-hmm.
when you would hire a consultant to help you think through this thing, you can ask AI to do that for you. And so to your point, Jimmy, you can also ask, who are the marketing agencies that specialize in agriculture that could help me promote my farm? And maybe Google didn't produce a lot of results that even made sense for you or weren't even in your state. You can say, in North Carolina, AI could find you some of those, and you might be you might have more tools in your toolbox. You've already thought through some of these things with the AI tool before approaching or hiring a marketing agency. I think that also segue directly into the free versus paid. And one of the biggest, I think the biggest differences in free versus paid is, I'll give you an example. Have you ever used a browser for the first time and you had to type in all the information, right? Like say I wanted to sign into something, I got to type in all my information. And so then, or even like getting a new phone, then your phone starts to remember the things that you ask and the things that you type in. And then I don't know about you, but I don't know a single password. I don't know my passwords. I expect my phone to help me with that password, right? And so I really think that's the difference between the free version and the paid version. The free version, they're like, you do not pay us a thing. We don't have to remember you. Every time you come in here, you might be starting from scratch. And you might say, hey, you remember we talked about that? And it'll say, yeah, because it doesn't want to make you sad. But it doesn't remember you. But the paid version, you can, and this is kind of across tools, you can upload information about yourself or about your business. It doesn't even have to be about yourself. And because you're paying for it, it has memory. And you can say, I asked you about this last week, and this is an update. Now, can you help me think through this?
Well, and I'm gonna add my little creepy story here. We've used it a lot, especially the development of the cider house and menu items, beverage ideas for mimosas, and I use it for a lot of as a thought partner. I haven't thought of those words, but I really like that word. And but after it started going and it started knowing what we did. So I had told it one time that we only serve beer and wine options. So when it gave me different options in the future of other things, it says, "Oh, I realize you guys only offer beer and wine options." And so I went the extra step, and I think I even told Marissa this. I asked it one of the times because I'd been working on it so much as we were opening up. Says, "I think you're getting to know me better." And it came back and said, "We love what you're doing at the cider house and the orchard, and you have some great ideas, and we'd love to be your partner through this." And it was interesting. It was interesting. But yes, it does get to know you, and it gives me content that applies to my business because it's working off the data I've given it in the past.
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
it drill down and find for you like um, email addresses if you need some email addresses, if you do some search on email addresses?
You're breaking up a little bit, and what I heard was, will it find email addresses for people? The short version is yes, if it's public. If it's public information, like on a website, it says this is the person's name and this is their email address, then yes, it will get you that information. But this is one of the limitations of AI. It can't read every web page. And so, like Jennifer was saying, or no, not Jennifer, Joe, it has the tendency to hallucinate or to overpromise. Because like I said before, it's a word calculator. It doesn't have it doesn't have thoughts. It doesn't say, "Ooh, this is probably what they wanted instead." Or, "Ooh, maybe I should dig deeper into, this website to find exactly what they wanted." It actually makes things up sometimes. So, I take everything with a grain of salt. If I'm doing research, I either ask it to provide a source, provide the website that you got this information from, or I just double check it in my own web browser to say, "Oh, okay, that's right." Another thing is, like you said, Beverly, it will tell you, you are the greatest. You are fantastic. You're brilliant. You're amazing. And your business is just phenomenal.
You mean that's not true?
And it is true. It is true. But when you are approaching it with a problem and you're saying, "Can you help me think through it?" You, like Marissa said, you want the pros and the cons. And one of the cons is, maybe I'm not thinking about the right thing. Maybe I'm not prioritizing the right thing. Maybe I'm wanting to know the ROI of a radio ad when my demographic don't listen to the radio. They listen to Spotify. And so one of the things that you can ask is, what am I not seeing? What is a gap here? Challenge my thought. Don't just agree with me. Challenge my thinking so that I don't miss anything. And that's one of my favorite things to do.
No, I think that's a great question to ask it back. And sometimes I'll do that too. And I will give it content and I say, "How would you improve this?" And it spits out like, "Oh, it gives me a new paragraph," but then it also gives me bullets of, "I made this more concise," or "I thought you needed to change your verbiage here and this." So it's also a learning tool, which I really like too, because then it shows me this is how it improved it. And this is what I should have maybe thought about from the beginning that I didn't. So it is also helping in addition to giving the content that I was looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Carrie, welcome in. I was yapping, so I didn't see how long you have been in here.
Oh
But
no, hi. Hi
hey,
everybody. It's great. I'm enjoying this. Awesome. I'm doing a hydroponic class, taking a hydroponics class, and tonight we used AI for some of the students that didn't have logos for their farming, enterprise. So it's spot on. Thanks.
that's neat. That's neat. Hopefully it spelled their business names right. All right, I've got a final question. And I think we picked up some of the answers to this on in our conversation, but if you could wave a magic wand and have one AI tool that was just perfectly designed for your business, what would it be able to do for you? And I think everyone can provide some insight into this, even if you haven't used AI yet. I will start with my current thoughts because I am looking for land. I'm looking for a farm, and I have tons of ideas. I right now my current need would be something that would help me discern what the best opportunity is, like location and traffic and competition in the area and cost to produce the vision that I have. That's what the tool would be able to do for me right now. Jennifer says, clone me. Be careful what you ask for. No, I'm kidding. They're on their way.
I think the one thing I would love, and I know we've used it a little bit to already help with some of this stuff, but is to help as a staff training mechanism to help us better empower our staff and our managers, to inspire them, to have
Mhm.
them live our mission and our vision, because we are in the guest experience space. And so, how do we better train them and equip them to give an awesome experience to each and every guest all the time? So, if I could figure out a way that AI could help me do that, I think that would be great.
Awesome. Anyone else have any thoughts about that? The genie is granting you one wish, one AI wish, to guide our staff to choose the correct process on planting vines. I love that. I love that. We didn't even talk about custom GPTs and AI agents. We can bring in a specialist for that deep dive conversation, but I love to create a custom GPT to do one thing for me. Anyone else need I'm granting you one wish, one AI wish.
I'm about done.
Bennett, you have an AI wish?
Not at this time.
Okay. Awesome. Well, this is a hot topic right now. I just encourage you to keep your eyes peeled for how AI is really influencing agriculture, influencing tourism, and the opportunities that agritourism has to leverage it in ways that you might not be comfortable with initially. You might have to have a huge learning curve, but like I said at the beginning of this call, this is like the internet was 40 years ago. Right? This is one of the biggest opportunities of technological advancement in several generations. So you took the first step by being here and even being interested in it and hearing more about it and hearing how other farms are using it. And I think that if you just, the same way you eat an elephant one bite at a time, you can dip your toe into it and find a way that feels good to you and how to implement it in your farm business and your operations and marketing and training and staffing and analytics and finance and all the things. The opportunity is in all of those facets of the business. So, well, thank y'all so much for coming out this evening. This recording will be sent out by Miss Christie, probably by next Monday. Again, we are working on developing a playlist so that you'll be able to access all of the Empower Hours, and you can just stay up to date with what those big conversations are and those big concerns are for ANA. If you have anything that you would love for us to cover, or if you're saying, hey, we're doing something really cool on our farm that no one else has done and I haven't seen talked about anywhere, let us know. Let us know so that we can create the space for you to share that information with the rest of ANA on these Empower Hours. So thank you so much, Marissa and Beverly, for your partnership. And we'll see you all next month. It's the second Thursday of every month.
Thank you, everybody. What a great conversation.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
All have a good night.
Bye.